He wanted to create a fake university to trick his parents but ended up with nearly $10 million in tuition fees. On opening day, countless students arrived. He was confused about how they found out. His friend, while making a website for the fake university, created a realistic admission option to convince Bartleby's skeptical father. Anyone who applied was accepted, so students who couldn't get into other schools saw this as their last chance. After discussing, Bartleby thought they should send these people back. But when he got on stage to tell the truth, a student kept raising his hand, changing Bartleby and the fake university's fate. The student said, "When I got accepted here, my parents were proud of me for the first time." This resonated with everyone, and after a lively moment, everyone quieted down, waiting for Bartleby's next speech. Unexpectedly, Bartleby changed his mind. He asked how many had applied to other schools, and everyone raised their hands. When asked who got accepted, everyone lowered their arms in disappointment. Bartleby empathized, as he too was rejected by colleges. Overwhelmed, he made a bold decision to go with the flow. The original dismissal speech turned into a welcome address. Suddenly, everyone ran around, excitedly, but his friends were shocked because this was originally a mental hospital. There were no teachers, no majors, no library, no cafeteria. Bartleby didn't expect his moment of bravado to cause so much trouble. As he worried about what to do, students broke through the wall, expanding their space. Bartleby had no choice but to improvise and asked his friend Rory to find them a bigger room. The whole school felt more like a free-spirited party. Bartleby realized this couldn't continue and needed to understand how a university operates. So, he visited nearby Harmon University under the guise of transferring. However, the dull routine didn't interest him at all. Just then, he saw Monica, whom he had a crush on for a long time. After a brief chat, he learned Monica had chosen many courses she didn't like, while he longed for photography. But she gave up because she might not get the degree. Bartleby wanted to chat more, but Monica was in a hurry to attend her next class. Watching her busy figure, Bartleby's thoughts drifted back to high school graduation day. Most classmates received acceptance letters from their dream schools, but Bartleby only got rejection letters from all. Even the lowest-ranked school in Chenzhou didn't want to invite her. While she was sad and upset, Monica, whom she had a crush on, came over. She thought she could find some comfort, but instead, she got a heavy blow. Monica planned a family cue 2 days later and hoped Bartleby could help. However, before Monica could say what help was needed, Bartleby readily agreed. Unexpectedly, it was to help mow the lawn in advance. Even so, as a devoted admirer, Bartleby still agreed. What made her even sadder was Monica getting into a handsome guy's car. Bartleby felt all she lacked was a car. However, her childhood friend told her she also lacked a handsome appearance. Her sister comforted her to recognize her ordinariness and think about how to face her parents. Bartleby thought of a plan. He said, "If I work now, in 4 years, I can earn $80,000. If I go to college, in 4 years, I'll spend $80,000. This difference is $160,000. However, his father wasn't convinced by his theory and firmly told him that only by going to college could he integrate into society, gain recognition, succeed, and find happiness. Helplessly, Bartleby had to reveal the whole tragic situation. Faced with this sudden news, his parents didn't know how to react. On prom night, Bartleby realized he wasn't the only one not accepted. The best baseball player in school lost his chance due to a knee fracture, and the top student Lori didn't get into her dream Yale because she only applied there. Bartleby regained some confidence, but as she was about to leave the prom, she was stopped by a friend's father. Then, they went to Bartleby's parents. The friend's father was proud of his son getting into Harmon University, while Bartleby's parents could only show sadness. When asked by the friend's father which school he got into, Bartleby hesitated, unsure how to respond. His father answered for him, saying he lost all opportunities because he didn't work hard and wasted his life. The whole scene became awkward. By criticizing his own child, he prevents others from doing so. Even though he's usually carefree, his father's words deeply hurt him. At night, he looked at the rejection letters. Bartleby had a sudden idea. If no college wants me, I'll start my own and accept myself to gain my father's approval. He immediately scanned Harmon University's materials and used a computer to create a new school called South Harmon Institute of Technology. To ease his suspicious father's doubts, he had a friend create a fake school website. A baseball buddy saw this and asked for one too, or else he'd have to take over his dad's bus route. To keep his friend from entering the workforce too soon, he agreed. The next morning, his father received a letter. Bartleby pretended to be unaware, took the envelope skeptically, opened it, and excitedly announced his acceptance. His father was suspicious, saying he only knew of Harmon Institute of Technology, not this South Harmon. Seeing he was about to be caught, Bartleby quickly suggested checking their website. Thus, Bartleby managed to fool his family. The next day, while mowing the lawn, his father approached with a serious look. He had checked the website and, though it seemed fake, was happy his son had a college chance. His father generously advanced a year's tuition. However, his father planned for the whole family to take him to school on the first day. Hearing this, Bartleby was overwhelmed. To keep the lie from unraveling, they needed to quickly rent a place for a fake school. While they were worried about finding a location, a girl nearby pointed them in the right direction. Near Harmon Institute, there was an abandoned mental hospital. Perfect for Bartleby's needs. With some simple renovations, it could easily pass as real. Eagerly, he started fixing it up, only for a corpse to fall from the ceiling. The scene startled his friend into a dolphin-like scream, but no one took it seriously. The next day, another friend joined them. The five began renovating, cutting chains from the bed, knocking down the fence, painting walls, and tidying the kitchen. They couldn't tackle the filthy bathroom. In spare time, they could try a padded room or electrotherapy. After days of work, the place looked like a school. Then, Bartleby's dad called, wanting to meet the principal. Bartleby asked his friend for help, hoping his uncle could pretend to be the principal. But the uncle seemed off, arguing with a child. The child wanted different shoes, and he scolded him. After learning their purpose, he refused, not wanting to follow rules or compromise for money. Then, a complaint came. The boy he scolded complained to the manager. He was scolded by 3 people and fired. The uncle, unwilling to bow for money, agreed to their requests. Soon, the fake principal and students were in place. Rory called over students. When Bartleby's dad arrived, he believed everything. Friends were ready for Bartleby's family. When they entered, I was setting up the stage. The performance was lifelike. While the father greeted roommates, the sister noticed the iron bars and restraints. As the parents were puzzled, Bartleby took them to the principal's office. The meeting was nerve-wracking. The uncle boasted about his educational philosophy, belittling traditional education. The parents' expressions changed repeatedly. Bartleby kept steering the conversation back, but the uncle always said something shocking, causing the topic to drift. Bartleby quickly used his eyes to remind his uncle to say what parents love to hear. Studying hard is for a good job. This brought the talk back on track. Bartleby felt relieved, and his mom agreed with the principal, feeling enlightened. With their wishes fulfilled, the dad was satisfied and ready to leave. They hoped Bartleby would succeed here, but his sister knew something was wrong with the school. After sending the family off, the 4 started college life. While others suffered in class, they were in an air-conditioned room battling aliens. Just as they were immersed, there was a knock on the door. Bartleby opened it, puzzled, to find a tear-streaked guy introducing himself. Thinking this crazy guy was there for treatment, Bartleby brushed him off and was about to close the door, but the guy said he was here to register, and he wasn't the only one. Seeing hundreds of people, Bartleby was shocked. The school had never been open, so where did all these students come from? He went to Harmon University's fraternity to ask his friend about it. Unexpectedly, he met his crush, Monica, at the party. Even more surprising was that the guy who drove Monica away also got into Harmon College and became the student council president. Having a close relationship with Monica, Bartleby could only turn away helplessly. After finding his friend, he learned about the website's admission function. To not disappoint so many students, Bartleby went to the neighboring Harmon University to learn about their teaching model, only to find the university was so dull. Even Monica, whom he admired, gave up her passion for photography because she might not get a degree. Bartleby lamented that this wasn't the university she wanted. His uncle pointed out the truth. The essence of a university is to serve the public. People pay for an experience, but what they want should be asked of them. Bartleby realized universities have always taught how to learn, but now he wanted to do the opposite. He began asking each student what they wanted to learn. Most students initially didn't know, thinking teachers should tell them, but soon there were all sorts of answers. Some like rock music, some like fashion design, and some like extreme sports. So Bartleby allocated tuition wisely. For those who love food and cooking, he spent all their tuition on the kitchen. Instead of baseball, his best friend actually loved carving. So he used the tuition to buy the necessary materials and tools. He built a stage for students who liked singing and a field for those who liked sports. Then Bartleby encouraged students to write what they wanted to learn on the blackboard and handed the teaching tasks back to them. Through these seemingly laissez-faire actions, a miracle happened. Students who were once idle were no longer lazy and began to work hard in their suitable fields. The blank spaces on the blackboard became fewer and fewer. Beneath the graffiti-style courses lay a thirst for knowledge. After some time, South Harmon had its own motto: to inspire students' passion and creativity. And almost every student indeed found their direction and truly felt their self-worth. They spontaneously held various activities every day. Gradually, South Harmon's interesting teaching methods gained more and more student recognition. People no longer asked what class was today but what class they wanted today. Just as everything was moving in a positive direction, The principal of Harmon School had a different idea. The principal believed that a school's quality depended on how many students it enrolled each year. Unfortunately, Harmon College had fewer and fewer students to reject in recent years. Almost unable to maintain its prestigious status, the principal blamed everything on Harmon College not having a grand entrance like other schools, with its famous green lawns that embrace knowledge and exclude ignorance. If they didn't want to expand the school, they had to acquire all the surrounding abandoned buildings, and South Harmon was in his plan. The president was appointed by the principal to be responsible for this task, and the first place he went was South Harmon. Enemies meet, and tensions rise. Bartleby blocked the president at the door, and the president immediately recognized Bartleby. The president proudly stated that he was representing Harmon College to acquire the property rights. Bartleby had to come up with various excuses because he didn't know who the property owner was. In the end, they just shut the door on them. Both sides parted on bad terms. But as he was leaving, the president learned South Harmon's name by accident. Back at the dorm, he found out online it was a made-up university, and Bartleby is likely the mastermind behind it. While the president was busy, a girl knocked on the door. When Monica opened the door again, she saw them looking at each other. Monica and the president's relationship completely broke down. Back home, she found a camera and a camcorder on the table. She didn't expect that just mentioning it casually, Bartleby would take it to heart. Maybe the people who are good to you have always been around. So, Monica decided to check out Bartleby's school. Without contact information, almost no one else knew. Monica went through a lot of trouble to find South Harmon. To Monica's surprise, although the school seemed chaotic, every student was passionately discussing various topics. Bartleby showed Monica around this amazing school. The most special thing about South Harmon is its colorful schedule. Despite feeling embarrassed, with Bartleby's encouragement, Monica chose a course she was interested in. Their relationship is quietly heating up, but when Bartleby and Monica returned to the school, they stumbled upon an awkward scene. A childhood friend dressed like a clown, waving to passers-by, just to complete a fraternity task. Turns out, this wasn't the first time the friend played the clown. Because his father also got into Harmon when he was young, and during his time there, he was always a fraternity member with his friends. The friend didn't want to disappoint his father's expectations, so he tried his best to get into Harmon College. But the fraternity only accepts handsome guys, and the friend is unfortunately quite chubby. Luckily, the fraternity's leader, who is also the president, is the son of his father's friend. They have an inexplicable hereditary tradition. To join the fraternity, the friend started to flatter the president, fantasizing that joining would compensate for his shortcomings. Perhaps this has always been his inner pain, yet he is unaware he's become a joke. However, when faced with Bartleby's persuasion, he firmly said he's very happy now. The fraternity's annual gathering. It's said to be the most popular student event at Harmon College. However, this year's party was unusual, with no one attending. The fraternity seems to have lost its appeal. Just as the president was puzzled, the assistant delivered some bad news. Turns out, everyone went to a bigger bash. That was the underground rock scene at South Harmon, gaining more recognition. Once the flyers were out, it was a call to action. As the founder, Bartleby was cheered on stage, freely expressing youthful passion and sweat, and Monica King witnessed it all. Unexpectedly, Bartleby was like a king here. Bartleby took the chance to confess to Monica. But just as their lips touched, the president showed up with ill intentions. A quick-thinking friend alerted them. Seeing Monica King with Bartleby, the president was furious, ready to fight before saying much. However, she realized she was surrounded by Bartleby's supporters. Realizing she couldn't gain anything, she left in defeat. Yet, unable to swallow his pride, he pulled the fire alarm. But the next moment, everyone went even crazier as a line dance began. That night, the president's new girlfriend knocked on the friend's door, inviting him to join the fraternity as a bodyguard. In reality, it was just the president's scheme. He wanted the friend to reveal everything about South Harmon. For several days after, the friend was nowhere to be seen. Worried, Bartleby went to his friend's dorm, finding his face bruised and battered. Turns out, because the friend refused to give any information, the fraternity beat him up. In the end, the friend not only revealed everything but also handed over his notebook, email, and anything related to South Harmon to the president. Bartleby couldn't believe he would sell out his dignity for those fraternity jerks. The friend argued it was tradition. However, Bartleby believed the only tradition was their friendship since they were 5. Soon, trouble came knocking. His sister had already noticed Bartleby's secret, but a new bike was enough to keep her quiet. However, parents weren't so easily fooled. That day, a group of parents suddenly flooded into South Harmon. Someone had sent out invitations, claiming it was Parents' Day at South Harmon. The principal of Harmon also rushed over in time. Turns out, he arranged all of this. The principal exposed Bartleby's actions in front of everyone and promised to hold him legally accountable. Clearly, the president was the instigator of all this. Before leaving, he didn't forget to mock Bartleby. His parents were very disappointed with what he did. All the parents left with childlike innocence. Monica no longer wanted to hear any of Bartleby's explanations. After some time of underestimation, Bartleby revisited the place. The school had been sealed by the relevant authorities. He found a letter at the door, which was a notice from the education committee. A hearing will be held soon. Bartleby sought out his friends, hoping to make one last effort, because this was not just for themselves, but for everyone who trusted South Harmon. Just then, his childhood friend also rushed over. He finally decided to live for himself once, and Bartleby realized it was he who submitted the accreditation application to the committee. Soon, the hearing was held as scheduled. Without money for a lawyer, his all-capable uncle took on the responsibility again. However, the receptionist told everyone that the hearing was moved from the side hall to the main hall because it was much more spacious. It turned out that South Harmon students had come voluntarily to attend. Monica also arrived at the scene. According to regulations, a school must have 3 standards: facilities, courses, and teachers. At the critical moment, his uncle encouraged Bartleby to stand up bravely. Bartleby stated that South Harmon has teachers, dorms, a pool, even a bar, and an extreme skate ramp. But the Harmon principal pointed out that it was just a mental hospital, with no track field, no library, and lacking even basic medical facilities. But when the committee asked about the courses, Bartleby suddenly gained some confidence. Then, they presented their proud course schedule. To others, these courses seemed worthless, but the students stood up to explain how each course was significant to them. When the officials asked if they had teachers, all the students stood up to show their dissent. They are both students and teachers. However, this action did not gain official recognition. You must have teaching qualifications to be considered a qualified teacher. Just when Bartleby didn't know what to do, his uncle, the fake principal, finally stepped up. However, this made the Harmon principal protest even more. Because he knew his uncle hadn't taught for a long time. The two had worked together at Harmon College for over 20 years. Later, the uncle couldn't stand the outdated educational system and got fired. Meanwhile, he advanced rapidly and became the principal. The principal thought the uncle was a brainless lunatic, unfit to be a teacher. The two had a big argument, and the students almost got into a fight. The committee signaled everyone to be quiet. But one person teaching over 30 students is unrealistic. Officials asked Bartleby to confirm if it was true, but he refused to answer. He believed traditional education overly relies on standardized rules, needing various setups and teachers, yet neglects the essence of education. Education should inspire students' intrinsic motivation. When students are given choices, their creativity, passion, and learning efficiency surpass the passive reception of traditional classrooms. Education shouldn't have a single model. It should respect individual differences, allow different educational paths, and embrace both traditional academic systems and experimental education like South Harmon. The ultimate goal of education should be to cultivate the ability for continuous self-improvement, not just to grant a diploma. No matter how you judge us, we won't stop learning or growing. Bartleby's views resonated deeply. He exposed the dark side of the education system, and his courage to face it was admirable. But the trial must go on. Everyone quieted down, holding their breath. After exchanging opinions, the committee decided to grant South Harmon a 1-year trial period to continue experimenting. The moment the stamp was placed, South Harmon erupted in excitement. They were finally recognized by society. Thus, this fake university became a legitimate school. Harmon University's plans fell through, and South Harmon University began official operations. Bartleby finally gained his family's approval. Accepted is a film directed by Steve Pink, starring Justin Long and Blake Lively, released in 2006, based on a true story. Though based on a true story, the South Harmon in the film is entirely fictional. Bartleby's real-life counterpart, named Chapman, founded Western College in California in 186, which evolved over a century and was officially renamed Chapman University in 19. It's very different from South Harmon University. Chapman University's film program, Civilized World, has nurtured many top Hollywood filmmakers. The film wraps deep critique in absurd comedy. Bartleby's fake college acceptance seems rebellious but sharply critiques traditional education. Standardized tests and elite school worship turn students into assembly line products. South Harmon Institute's emergence is a loud wake-up call to this rigid model. When students explore interests freely in a transformed campus, education returns to its essence, sparking creativity and respecting differences. This makes one ponder if true education is about tools or awakening souls. Traditional education sees a diploma as a life passport, but South Harmon students show learning happens outside class, growth from passion. The film uses a fictional diploma mill to ask, Do degree-built class walls stifle unstandardized geniuses? This rebellious spirit echoes real-world education reform calls. Education needs diversity. Life shouldn't be a single log bridge. Bartleby's lives started as escape but opened a field of freedom. These failures realize life's value isn't in authority validation but in staying true to oneself. True success is finding your own rhythm. The film doesn't give a utopian answer but leaves hope. Letting go of the right path obsession. Might we find life has no standard answer? As Bartleby shouts, education's meaning is in itself, life's in embracing possibilities. Alright, that's all for today's movie. Feel free to like, comment, and share. Looking forward to our next encounter.